Alright guys, Father Chaudhary with another video. In this video, we're talking about AngularJS and this is the first lesson in my AngularJS tutorial series. So let's get started with it. Introduction to AngularJS. AngularJS was created by Mashiko Hevry, who is a Google employee, and he started working on AngularJS as an experimental idea, which turned out to be amazing. So Google is officially supporting AngularJS now. What is AngularJS? Well, AngularJS is a JavaScript framework. It allows you to manage front-end processing with amazing power, and it is compatible with MVC, which for those of you who don't know, MVC is the short form for Model View Controller, which allows you to enable abstraction and a lot of cool stuff with your code, which if you're not familiar with, that's okay. We will be discussing MVC in our later lessons. What are the prerequisites for this tutorial? Well, you must have some basic knowledge about HTML and JavaScript. How does this work? AngularJS extends HTML with the help of directives and expressions. What are directives and what are expressions? You don't need to worry about it right now. All you need to know is AngularJS extends your HTML code. Moving on. How do we get started? Well, since AngularJS is a JavaScript framework or a JavaScript library, all you need to do is import the AngularJS library in your HTML code and you're good to go. You can do this by hosting AngularJS on your own hosting or using any CDN. So let's get started with it. Okay guys, to get started with AngularJS, what you have to do is you actually have to go to some directory and make a folder where you're gonna make all of your website. So go to your code editor or whatever. I'm using Atom and I'm gonna go to File and I'm gonna add a project folder. I'm gonna simply make this folder on the desktop. Let's call this folder my project and open it. Once you're done with creating your directory or your folder, you have to make an index.html file. So let's write index.html and you're done with making that file. Let's start by writing some basic HTML in this. And let's give this HTML page a title. Next off, as I said before, AngularJS is a JavaScript library, so what you have to do is actually import that library in your HTML code. So for that, there are two ways. Number one, either you can host the AngularJS on your own hosting and import that relative path to your HTML file, or the easier way, that you go to some CDN website, copy the CDN link and paste the link in your HTML file. What it does is give you a link to where the AngularJS library is already hosted, and that avoids the fuss of actually downloading AngularJS, putting that in your folder and all those stuff. So in short, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to some CDN website and copy the link to AngularJS, and that's it. So let's go to browser and I'm gonna go to docs.angularjs.org. I'm gonna mention this link in the description below. There you have to copy the script tag, come back to your editor and paste it, and voila. That's it. You've successfully imported AngularJS library in your HTML code. And to check this, if it's working or not, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write some basic AngularJS code and run that for you to show you if it's working properly. So let me just fast forward. Okay, so I'm done with writing my code, and if you're not familiar with AngularJS already, then you don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna discuss all this code in my later lessons. So just to give you a review, what I've done is I've introduced a script tag, and in that tag I've written some basic AngularJS, and what it does is actually just hit you with a prompt that says AngularJS working properly, and I'm just gonna run this HTML page, and if this prompt shows up, then that tells you that AngularJS is working properly. So to run this, simply go to the directory where you made this index.html file and double click on it. It will open up in your browser. Let's do that. And here we are. We have successfully loaded that index.html file in our browser. And since our AngularJS was working properly, the prompt shows up and it says AngularJS working properly. I hope this first lesson of AngularJS was beneficial and helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.